Hey everyone! Happy Friday, friends! How are you? Hope you guys are having an awesome day. Weekend is here. It's beautiful outside. And I just have a couple things I want to share with you today. I think it's really important. I think some of you really could benefit from this. So I hope it helps you. This is not an easy topic for me to talk about today. Hey Corinne, how are you? So first of all, high five to all my replay viewers. Replay high five. If you're watching the replay, give a high five. If you're tuning in live, thank you so much for joining, and let me know where you're tuning in from so I can say hello back. And I love how I can give high fives back to everybody. Hey Carlina, hi Corinne, welcome. Where are you guys from? Also, let me know if you can hear me okay. I'm on my back deck today, so I'm not sure how good reception is, but it's too beautiful to be inside today. Hey David. Hey Felisa, how are you, sweetheart? How's everyone doing? Happy Friday. Awesome. Okay, can you guys hear me okay? Okay, Felisa says she can. Hopefully, and there's always a glare, of course, because I'm outside, so hopefully you guys can hear me okay, and I can see you guys. Hey John, how are you? Happy Friday. Anybody have any fun plans this weekend? Dave's from Wichita Falls, Texas. Awesome. Okay, thank you, John. All right, for those of you who are tuning in live for the very first time, my name is Stephanie Skokowski, coming to you from Pennsylvania, and my passion is to help you become your best you, whether it's in your mindset, your health and wellness, a business, any new venture. That there's no competition except for the person you're staring at in the mirror, and it's never too late to become more. It's never too late. Don't die with the music inside you. That's my true passion. I'm on a journey myself, and I just love to share things that I'm learning along the way in hopes that it encourages you as well. Hey Meredith, how are you? So I don't know if some of you might have seen my post Wednesday night, and that's what inspired me to talk a little bit more about what I'm going to talk about today, about my mess and how your mess can be your message. And this is not easy for me to talk about, but I really do think it could bless somebody, so that's why I'm going to share this today. So maybe you feel, let me know if you can relate to this, maybe you feel like you can't become your best you because there's a mess in your past that you keep stumbling over. You're not letting yourself get over it. Does that sound like you? You know, do you agree with that? Let me know if any of this resonates with you. Let me know. And so a lot of times you might have a dream or a goal and you're making progress, but then you have that skeleton in your closet or ghosts from your past that you keep beating yourself up over and you're not getting over it, or maybe you're embarrassed, or so you see yourself developing and you're starting to become more like you want, but then you have those reminders of, who am I to think that I can do this? Because remember what happened to me in the past, or remember who I was in the past, what kind of person I was in the past, and you trip yourself up all over again, and then you go backwards and you're not making the progress. You kind of stop, and maybe you go backwards and now you're stopping your progress and you were making such great progress. Does that sound like any of you? Can any of you relate to that? Let me know, because you'll be blessing a lot of other people on this feed. I'm sure we all go through this sometimes. Hi, Idalia, how are you? Hey, Lori, welcome. If you're finding value in this, please feel free to let your friends know and just click the share button. So on Wednesday night, I shared a little bit about my past because it's very painful to go back there because it's embarrassing. So a lot of times, we don't want to share our story because we're embarrassed, right? And all of a sudden my screen got super dark. I don't know why. Oh, goodness gracious. What is going on? Can you guys still hear me? Maybe if I take my sunglasses off, I can see a little better, but my screen got really dark, so I can't see anything right now. Oh, gosh. Oh, well, whatever. Hey, Carol, thanks for joining. I'm going to just keep going in hopes that you guys can still hear me. So Wednesday night, I posted a little bit about my past. With my ex, with my daughter's father, went through some domestic issues, domestic violence, financial ruin. I mean, I could go on and on. It wasn't easy. It ultimately led to court in and out. I had to file restraining orders pretty much it was like a horror story. It was like those typical movies that you see where you're terrorized, really. And it was 4 years of hell. And that was just a tiny snippet of my story. And it holds me back sometimes if I let myself camp back there too long. And then I realized, and especially as I've been growing, in my journey and my faith and my relationship with God, it's like, how can you make good of what has happened to you? And the way you do that is by overcoming it. And then don't be afraid to share it, because there's other people who've gone through similar situations that you might have gone through, and nobody wants to feel alone. Nobody wants to feel like they're the only ones that went through it. And so it's so hard, especially on social media, when everything's a highlight reel. I heard a friend post, why don't we get more real instead of worrying about the highlight reel? I thought that was such a great post, because we worry about what people think. We think we always have to gloss it over. And I just think, how many of you agree? Let me know if you agree with this. The most empowering stories are when people are real. And you would have never known looking at them that they had such challenges in their lives, and look at they overcome. And once you learn, you're so impressed and grateful and inspired. Everybody loves like an underdog story. So, hey Tina, how are you? So, that's one of the reasons I shared, because I know there's a lot more women out there who've gone through what I went through and even worse. And I want them to know that they can get through it. And I have friends going through it right now. And when you're in it, when you're in that storm, you feel like you're never going to get out. It's hard to see that light at the end of the tunnel sometimes. So I wanted to share that with you in hopes that it could inspire others. But the other reason I want to share with you, maybe I want to encourage you to share your story. Maybe you're trying to do something new in your life, turn a new leaf, start something new you've never done before. Maybe you're trying to build a business, and so you're letting it get in the way. But I want to remind you, people do business with people that they know, like, and trust, and they can relate to, and they feel like they really know them. People just want to relate. Social media sometimes makes us feel even more lonely, unfortunately, because we're not connected, and people just want to feel connected to a tribe. They want to feel connected to people they can relate to. And so your story, I want to encourage you to share your story. People need to hear it. If you've overcome something, and maybe it's the old you and you don't want people to know about it because maybe you're worried that they'll judge you, but if you've overcome it and you have something better to show for it, share it, because it's only going to encourage other people, in my opinion. And it doesn't have to be anything related to your business. If you are growing a business, stories are compelling. People want to hear a story. Even our brains are wired to tune into a story, because when you hear somebody sharing their story, you're painting a picture in their mind. And they can relate. Or as you're sharing your story, someone's going to go, oh my gosh, I've been through that too. I can so relate to what you're saying. And now all of a sudden you have a tribe, or you have someone that can relate to you, and they appreciate that more, compared to just giving out facts and giving out benefits. People want to hear a story. I mean, let's face it, how many of you can remember things better if you put it to a song jingle or you put it to some kind of story? You remember stories better than you remember facts. Would you agree with that? Let me know if you agree with that. And my screen is so dark. So if you're commenting and I'm missing something, I'm so sorry. Lori says being vulnerable is hard for her. Oh my gosh, honey, you're not kidding. It's very hard. It's very hard, because here's one of the reasons why it might be hard to share the real you. Tell me if you agree with this. You're afraid of offending somebody. You might start getting some haters now. And I am a recovering people pleaser. I used to want to please people all the time and didn't want to offend anyone. Even if I didn't like somebody, this is how pathetic I was. Even if I didn't like somebody, I still wanted them to like me. Is that ridiculous or what? So putting your real self out there, yeah, you might turn some people away. But here's something else. Let me ask you this. Would you rather have a big sea of superficial relationships that really mean nothing, or would you rather have a collective few, a meaningful tribe that the relationships are deep and that you've impacted people, really impacted people? I'd rather really impact a few and impact them deeply than have like an ocean of, I don't know, what you would want to call them, acquaintances, fans, whatever, but you're not being deep. What did you say, Felisa? I need to share more stories. Yes, stories are so important, I believe. I mean, think back to even human history. How did we pass on information? We told stories. How do you know about your family? How do you know about your ancestors? You know, people hear stories. We gathered around campfires and told stories. Hey, Cynthia. Hi, Carol. Thanks for joining. Is that making sense? I hope this helped you guys. So let me just check my notes because I knew this would be a sensitive subject for me. So I wrote a ton of notes and worried that I was going to go off topic here or go blank. So you want to share the real you, any obstacles that you've overcome, the part of you that you might even be a little embarrassed about. You're not so proud, but you overcame it. You overcame it. That's the best part of your story that people need to hear, because I promise you, you're not the only one that went through that. And so people need that ray of hope. They might be in the middle of whatever challenge you used to have, and they need to see that someone else already got through it. I had a friend post a few days ago that she finally admitted that she had an issue with substance abuse, and she's been clean for so many days, and I was so proud of her. And that's not an easy thing to come out and share. But I guarantee you she must have inspired so many people that she'll never even know how many she inspired. So it's not going to be easy, but it's how, the way I look at it too, it's easy to, like my post said on Wednesday night, it's easy to get stuck in the why me? Why does this have to happen to me? Why do I have to go through all these struggles when everyone else seems to have it nice and easy, or, you know, they don't have to work so hard? Guarantee you, number one, there's going to be someone worse off than you. There always is. Look at any third world country where they have to walk miles in sewage just to get clean water. You know what I'm saying? It's always going to be worse. But also, when you share your story and you've overcome it, hey, Melissa, you're showing other people this is how you can make good of all the crap that happened to you. How else can you make good of it? You could either look back and regret and always build resentment, and that's not going to get you anywhere. And that's a bitter seed to swallow that's only going to grow into this huge cancer in your life. Or you could use it for the good and say, okay, I overcame it. It sucked I had to go through this, but I'm going to tell my story because it might help other people get through it. Or it's going to help you help a friend in the middle of it who thinks they're never going to get through it. And you can say, I did. I'm right here to walk alongside of you. Isn't that better to know that what was meant for good, what was meant for harm to crush you, you've overcome it, and now you're making good of it? So if this had to happen to you, whatever struggle you might have, share it. Because people need to hear it, and now you can make good of it. You can show others who've suffered through similar instances that they can also overcome, and that there's a light at the end of their tunnel. So remember, people want to relate. They want to feel like there's other people out there going through what they're going through, that they're not alone. They're not the only one who's experienced this, because so many times, hey, Molly, you made it, girlfriend. Thanks for tuning in. So they want to relate. People want to relate to others. They want to know they're not the only one that ever went through this. My gosh, and now with the recent announcements you're hearing with the suicides, I mean, people feel alone. And it doesn't matter how much wealth you have. It doesn't matter how much success you've had. It doesn't matter who and where you are. People feel alone. So if you're sharing your story, you don't know what ripple effect you're going to have down the road. You're not going to know who hears your story and it changed their life because maybe they were about to do something drastic and they didn't because they saw you went through the exact same thing. I don't care if it's alcohol and substance abuse. I don't care if it's any kind of abuse, rape, you name it, domestic violence. People need to share their story because it makes you relatable. You might offend some people, like I mentioned. Who cares? They're not supposed to be in your tribe anyway. Reach out to people, and that could be your message. That's what I mean about making your mess your message. So ask yourself these questions, and then I'll wrap it up. Aw, thank you, Molly. How do you want to be remembered? Do you want to be remembered as an overcomer? What image do you want to have come to mind when people think of you and they think of your story? Hopefully they hear your story. What image do you want to have? What do you want them to have in mind for you? So maybe you do have a story to tell, but you don't know how to tell it. You don't know where to start. It's not easy. One of the things I could recommend is just start writing it down, and what are the defining moments in your life? Because you might have many defining moments. You might have, that was just a snippet that I shared Wednesday night about what I went through with domestic violence and being a single parent and going through filing for restraining order, all that. That's just one defining moment in my life. I could go back to my childhood and name a few more. So you might be wondering, well, where do I even start? Thanks, David. You might be wondering, where do I start? How do I even begin to tell my story? Which part? Start writing it down and think of defining moments, those pivotal moments that defined you, where you might have made a stand. You decided to change course. Something you did that changed your life. Maybe something drastic happened in your life that gave you a wake-up call. That's a defining moment. So start with outlining your defining moments, and that's where you can get started. I highly encourage you, share your story. People need to hear it. People need to relate to you. And I'm actually in the middle of a free course right now that's helping me define my story a little bit more and share so I can relate to others. It's been so helpful. If you want to know what that free class is, let me know and I can send you that information too. If you're ready to share your story and you don't know where to start, this could really help you. So let me know and I would gladly share that with you. So I hope this helped. I hope it's not too deep for a Friday afternoon. We're supposed to be having fun this weekend. Hope you all have some fun planned, but this was just relevant from Wednesday night. I've had some people reach out to me, and I thought this was important that we needed to share this. So hope this helped you guys. Have a wonderful weekend. I love you guys so much. I'll talk to you guys soon. Take care. Bye-bye.